Hey, reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time, you're watching the original Rebels Racing League.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the Late Night Rebels Motor City 150 here at the original Rebel Racing League. It's guaranteed to be another good night as we get to join at the virtual Michigan International Speedway. As always, my name is James East, back in the booth after a week off with a bit of the old COVID. But thank you to everybody. I'm representing Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we get ready for single car qualifying to get this party started here. Brett Grunwald out on track for his opening laps in the number 5 machine. Let's see what happens here in Michigan. A very fun circuit to find yourself on. It is going to be a good race all the way through. 75 laps, 1 fast repair, 2 green-white checker attempts. It'll be interesting to see who's able to bring it home on top and who's going to have an easy night. These guys have 100% fuel allotment. They've got 5 tire changes available behind the wall here today at Michigan. And this is going to be an interesting one to see. Brett Grunwald clicks off at 39.61 his opening lap, but it's Peyton Johnson, the number 15 machine, puts it on top of a provisional pole with a 39.25 his opening lap. Let's see if this is one of those tracks where it seems to benefit drivers on their second lap compared to the first. As again, we're watching Brett Grunwald, the number 5 machine. Let's see what he can do on his second lap, see if he can improve on a 39.61. Smaller field tonight, about 20 drivers making their way out here at Michigan. And Grunwald clicks off a 39.36, able to improve his time ever so slightly. Steve Loving able to make it out on track in the number 27 Chevrolet Camaro. Let's see what he can do on his opening laps. As always, thank you so much to our fans, friends, and family across the world that tune in and week out, supporting your favorite drivers, your favorite league, and your favorite broadcaster. I've got to say, it is very good to be back up in the booth after a week hiatus. Back here with the original Rebel Racing family. Watching some great racing amongst good friends. Loving now on his flying lap. Let's see if he can do anything to dethrone Peyton Johnson, who clicked off that 39.26. Johnson was fastest on his opening lap here, unable to improve on that 39.26. His second lap was a 39.32. As Loving makes his way to the start-finish line, let's see what he has for his opening lap. Hitting speeds in excess of 196 miles an hour. And Steve Loving clicks off a 39.26, tied, almost identical with Peyton Johnson on his opening lap. Will he find any more time, or is he going to have to settle for second here in qualifying? Well, let's see what Loving does. Crossing the line, does he improve on 39.26? He does. A 39.25, barely edging out Peyton Johnson, putting that number 27 on top of a provisional pole here in qualifying. Not a lot of drivers still out on track. Got Jamie Dobbs, the number 91 Ford Mustang. He's going to click off a 39.57 his opening lap. And is he going to have time for another lap, or is qualifying going to come to a close? 14 drivers have put down qualifying time so far. And that will do it for qualifying. And let's get ready to grid them up for tonight's main event. Starting on pole, Steve Loving able to make it happen in qualifying. Peyton Johnson starting second. Jeff Paisley starting third on tonight's grid. Chris Reese starting fourth. Kyle Roberts starting fifth. Brett Redder starting sixth. Michael Morrison starting seventh. Charlie Gates Jr. eighth on tonight's grid. Isaac Wilson starting ninth. Brett Grunwald starting 10th. Jason Lottridge starting 11th. Josh Oswald starting 12th. Cycle it back to Jamie Dobbs starting 13th. Gene Watkinson starting 14th. Bill Stringfellow starting 15th. Dakota Camper 16th. And then Eddie Smith will be starting 17th to round out tonight's grid. Still waiting on Steve Loving to make his way out onto the grid. And then we will get this show on the road for our competitors. 75 laps here at the Motor City 150, sponsored by All Sheet Metal. Look at that, a healthy grid here tonight in Michigan. As the number 93 machine, Isaac Wilson, has to wake up there and get back out. And let's see what's going to happen here. Who's going to bring it home on the top spot as we get ready to head into the playoffs here for the original Rebel Racing League Late Night Series? It's going to be Steve Loving, Peyton Johnson, your front row, two competitors that have been fast all season long. And it looks like all 17 drivers will make it out onto tonight's race surface. Pace car will be in this time by. There it goes, diving down pit lane, the iRacing official pace car. And here we go for the Motor City 150. Green flag will fly. Steve Loving, Peyton Johnson hit the loud pedal, and away we go. That inside line got a little bit more speed, so it's going to be Steve Loving, Jeff Paisley, Kyle Roberts on the inside line, making a little bit of ground early on. Peyton Johnson did not get the launch that he wanted in the number 15 machine. Let's see if he's going to be able to capitalize and get back out there. We got somebody in the wall ready, and around goes the number 21, Michael Morrison. And look at that. These guys did not make it far at all before absolute carnage. Morrison gets hooked. I'm not quite sure which of the Arcadia Motorsports drivers that was. I'm not sure if that was Redder involved, but look at that. Everybody goes absolutely careening across the racetrack. Gene Watkinson, Josh Oswald, really a whole lot of people involved in that one. Absolute carnage of bumper cars. Now, I believe these guys do have one fast break. Let's take one more look at Josh Oswald's angle. Just hard hits for everybody involved. We try and get things shaken back up live. Not quite sure what the broadcast software's got going on. Let's see if we can get that relaunched here in a second. Just making our way back after that week hiatus, so things that can go wrong will go wrong up here in the booth. So it looks like it's going to be Brett Redder, Michael Morrison, Charlie Gates Jr., Josh Oswald, Bill Stringfellow, Gene Watkinson, all going back to the pit lane to try and get those repairs done. Oswald, Gates, Stringfellow, Grunwald all had to take that fast tow back to pit lane, unable to make it back upon their own power. Now, there was a couple of EOL penalties that were assigned going into tonight's race. Dakota Camper, Jamie Dobbs, both received EOLs going into this round here in Michigan after a little bit of over-aggressive driving last week. Let's see if the guys can clean it up. Hard to really fault anybody for that incident. It looks like just too many guys jockeying for the same position. So again, that'll bring out the very first caution here tonight. As we get them formed back up, it's going to be Steve Loving, Jeff Paisley on the front row. Get the guys formed back up, double file, about 10-15 rows deep. Good to see Mason Heimbaugh, Shappy Edits, joining us in the spectator area here tonight. Good friends, good producers, and good editors. Always great seeing like-minded folks tune in, supporting the broadcast. Pace car goes in. It's Steve Loving, Jeff Paisley out front. Still have all 17 drivers on the lead lap. Green flag is a go. There goes Steve Loving. Peyton Johnson with a much better launch this time by. He's going to be side by side with Jeff Paisley, leading them into turn one. And let's see if the field's maybe a little bit more patient here. Now they look to be a bit more spread out, so that's a good indicator that maybe they'll be a little bit more calm in the first restart of the night. Jeff Paisley takes over second place once again from Peyton Johnson. Here comes Clint Reese as well as Kyle Roberts trying to make some moves up the pack. You've also got Jason Lottridge, Eddie Smith, Dakota Camper battling for that 7th place spot. Eddie Smith in the number 87 machine. He's up 10 positions so far here tonight. A very late entry into tonight's race as he rides on board the number 87 Chevrolet. He's chasing Isaac Wilson down the backstretch here in Michigan. Not quite able to make a move, but look at that. Jason Lottridge tries to send it along the outside, the number 48. Fastest lap of the race, though, Dakota Camper, the number 3 machine, clicks off of 41.53. And let's go back up front. Steve Loving may have his hands full, as here comes Peyton Johnson as well as Jeff Paisley to try and battle for the race lead. It's Paisley and Johnson side by side down the backstretch. Chris Reese, Kyle Roberts are also battling for a spot. Reese looks to the back of Johnson, not quite able to make anything happen. Paisley looks to the inside of Steve Loving. Coming out of turn 4, is he going to be able to make it stick as they're side by side? Everybody able to hold on to it. They're 2 wide, about 2 rows deep. As it is Paisley, Loving, Johnson, Reese, Roberts making up your top 5 here today. Loving looking for a different way through. Oh, here we go. Another big incident. I know Isaac Wilson involved with that one. Redditor may have been involved. Let's take a quick look. Drivers just not having the luck they really want. Let's try and get it from a different angle here. Our Hall sheet metal drone camera. Looks like the 87 got into the number 93. It's kind of tough to tell from that angle. And that's going to send the boys sliding around once more. So up front, it's still going to be Paisley, who's now your race leader. Steve Loving will not lose the front row on the restart. And that'll bring out the second caution of the night here in Michigan. As it looks like the field's going to come down pit road. I don't believe anybody's staying out except for Oswald in the number 17 machine. He's going to opt to stay out for track position. Maybe not counting on another green flag run. Gene Watkinson, Charlie Gates Jr. both staying out. Now, Watkinson has not been down pit road at all yet tonight in the number 111 machine. While both Oswald and Gates came in on lap 3 after, I believe, being involved in that incident. The first incident, I should say. Excuse me if I get a couple of coughs on the mic. I'm doing my best to mute it as we go tonight. Still struggling a little bit, but getting through it. So now it's going to be Oswald, Watkinson, your front row. Charlie Gates Jr. will be on the second row with Steve Loving. All top 3 drivers opting to stay out. Let's see what Oswald and Gates are going to be able to do on those older set of tires. Not much older, but possibly enough to affect things as the field behind them all took 4 fresh tires and a tank of gas, able to stretch out that long run. Maybe gambling on a green flag run. While Oswald, Watkinson, and Gates are opting, thinking there may be another short run here, more time to come in and take tires. And maybe most importantly, avoiding some of the shenanigans that may go on behind them. Pace car makes its way in. Let's see what Oswald and Watkinson can do on the front row. Ooh, a bit of field stack in there. Look at this. Steve Lovin quickly looks to try and get around Watkinson in the number 111. Looks like he's trying to make moves early on. Oswald gets a huge launch over the rest of the field, trying to avoid the madness behind him. Loving moves up into second place, getting around Charlie Gates Jr. Jeff Paisley's going to follow in tow. Oh, they make contact once more. I believe that was Reese, and the number 62 machine may have got a bump. Not sure if that was from Watkinson or Camper in the number 3. Able to hold on to it and keep it pointed in the right direction. Up front, Steve Loving goes for the race lead, getting around Oswald's number 17 machine. And then Paisley has a bit of a hiccup as well, gets jostled around. Johnson moving back up the running order, the number 15 machine. Right now it's Loving, Oswald, Paisley, Johnson, Gates running top 5 here. Everything is far from settled here in the top 5. Everybody bumping around, trying to find a groove to get settled into. Looks like Johnson's one of the few drivers running that very high line here in Michigan, maybe trying to carry a little bit more speed and possibly gambling on a good green flag run, trying to keep those tires underneath them in this 75-lap shootout. Chris Reese, the number 62 machine, trying to work on Jeff Paisley. Reese takes over 4th place, sliding in front of the number 7 machine. And look at Dobbs charging hard as well, the number 91 machine. He's side by side with Camper in number 3. Everybody getting a little bit wiggly coming out of turn 2, down the backstretch. Just good racing across the field. Bill Stringfellow, number 38 machine, also trying to make some strides here. Stringfellow's up 6 spots so far, up into 9th after starting 15th. Oswald still holding on to it, number 17 machine, currently 4th on track. He is on the older set of tires coming down lap 3 after that first initial crash here tonight. But now here comes Camper on the inside line, and the number 3 machine seeing if he can work his way through. It's going to be nice and tight. Behind them, everybody still battling hard for a spot. Everybody looking for some good, strong results here with a smart field. They've got a much-needed opportunity to salvage some points, especially for those drivers that are in the playoffs. Peyton Johnson goes for the pass for the lead on the inside line next to Loving and the number 27. It's Johnson down low in the blue and white 15. Loving on the left side of your screen in the red and black number 27. It looks like Loving is going to have it here at the line just ever so slightly by about half a car length. Still side by side, Jeff Paisley trying to get in line with Steve Loving to make that high side work. Peyton Johnson looking to the inside line. Paisley has been able to take over second place. Here comes Camper on the outside line as well. Johnson getting shuffled a little bit further back here as now Oswald's going to pick up another spot in number 17 machine. Can he hold on to it? He's running a very high line as they are 3 wide. It is Reese, Johnson, and I believe that was Oswald, all 3 wide. As you're on board with Peyton Johnson, watching, loving Paisley Camper, your top 3 drivers. Johnson trying to work that high side work and pull it up next to Camper's number 3 machine. And look at this, Bill Stringfeld, number 38 machine, making some strides here. He's up 10 spots. Camper's up 12 spots so far here tonight. Everybody pushing very hard, very early, not too worried about tire wear or tire saving at this point. And there we go. Jeff Paisley goes for a wild ride. Let's see what happened. Oh, Paisley gets a hard shove from Johnson that just wasn't quite square. Johnson just drives through him and absolutely dumps Paisley, the number 7 machine. Let's take one more look at that one. But Paisley just got absolutely moved out of the way here. So there's Steve Loving out front. Paisley was second. Gets a hearty shove from Johnson, not quite square. And even once Paisley gets sideways, sent careening around. ARCA brakes in full effect. I believe Camper may get through that clean. It looks like he did. And Jeff Paisley goes for a wild ride. The number 7 machine taking several hard hits to that bodywork. And he will have to come back to pit lane for his one fast repair. So current running order still Loving, Camper, Johnson, Stringfellow, Smith, our new top 5 running order. And that will be the 3rd caution of the night on lap 22. As always, thank you to Hall Sheet Metal, tonight's title sponsor. Always great having those guys on board. Some of the best in the business, so if you're needing a heating and air conditioner, check them out, Hall Sheet Metal. They will get you taken care of. The entirety of the field comes down pit road for 4 fresh tires. I don't believe fuel is going to be much of a concern for these guys tonight. As it looks like it was just Grunwald who stays out. He came in on lap 9. So Grunwald will be your race leader once we drop the green flag once more. I'd also like to thank Hall Cough Drops for coming on board for tonight's broadcast, helping me get through tonight. It's good to be back, but man, 2 broadcasts in a row, it's a rough night post-COVID. Really using that push-to-mute button to its full effect. So it looks like Grunwald is going to fall back down the running order into 14. So it's going to be Dakota Camper, Steve Loving, your front row. Stringfellow and Reese, your second row. And then Smith and Oswald, your third row. Pace car is in. Away they go. Camper gets a massive launch over Loving. Stringfellow challenging for second place on the outside line, trying to carry a little bit more momentum. He's accompanied by that's Eddie Smith on the high line. Loving still glued to the inside line. He's accompanied by Chris Reese in the number 62 machine. But look at that outside line start to get a groove going. And Stringfellow with a gutsy pass to the lead dives up the inside of Camper, able to make it stick. So Stringfellow will get a lap led here in Michigan. So it is Stringfellow, Camper, and Smith on the outside line, with Steve Loving still trying to get that inside line working. But Loving did not have any support for that section of the raceway, but he's going to slot back into second, sliding up in front of Dakota Camper. And Loving's going to challenge for the lead once more, looking to the inside of Stringfellow. Stringfellow lets him have it relatively uncontested. All these guys are on the same tire strategy. Stringfellow gets a good push towards the front with the assistance of Camper's number 3 machine. Look at Eddie Smith go in the number 87 machine, coming out of nowhere, up 15 spots. It's Loving out front. Smith running second is up 15 spots. Stringfellow running third. Camper in fourth. Both Stringfellow and Camper up 12 spots from where they started here tonight. As these guys are battling very, very hard, each trying to grab a position where they can. Maybe trying to get themselves in an odd position in case we do get another caution. Ooh, Johnson gets shuffled around. The number 15 machine may have tagged the wall there. Not sure if he got any help from Roberts, the number 35 machine. Our top 4, Loving, Smith, Stringfellow, Dobbs, all running single file. Maybe trying to get a little bit of momentum going and avoid some of the shenanigans behind them. Johnson trying something a little bit different, maybe getting all the way down, but it does not seem to work as Camper and Dobbs get a big run on the outside line. Camper's moved up into the top 5. Eddie Smith running second. Again, he's up 15 spots, trying to chase down Steve Loving, who's been very quick all night long. Stringfellow, number 38 machine, he's going to be watching as well to see where he can find some time over your race leaders. Johnson not having a good luck here as he's back down to 8th place. Getting shuffled around pretty heavily. Loving and Smith working together, trying to get out front and keep pushing hard. Stringfellow finds himself in a battle with Jamie Dobbs' number 91 Ford Mustang. Everybody chasing that draft as you watch Camper try and stay glued to the back bumper, number 38, but Kyle Roberts is going to absolutely slick the stamp and send it down the inside. Can he make it stick? There's really not anywhere for him to slide up the racetrack and gain a position. He's going to be stuck on that middle groove, burning up a little bit more tires and not able to carry just as much momentum as those gentlemen that are running that mid to high line here at Michigan. As you're on board, Camper, the number 3 machine, again, he's up 11 spots, following Stringfellow's number 38, who is also up 11 spots. This is soon to be the battle for 4th on screen. As Camper has the know, he needs to keep his head down and keep charging forward, as there is a whole lot of drivers behind him, all trying to pick up some more spots here as we get closer to the halfway mark. Reese running the inside line, trying to work his way up around Camper. Still 16 drivers on the lead lap. We've had one driver retire with Gene Watkinson in the 111. He's going to call it an early night here in Michigan and go back to the hauler and try and get things ready for, not next week, I believe we have an off week next week, so the week after. Roberts still trying to make that inside line work as he's side by side with Stringfellow. I believe Stringfellow will have the momentum coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch here in Michigan. And here comes Camper, the number 3 machine. He looks to the inside of Stringfellow, not quite able to make it stick. The car's probably tightening up at this point. That's going to allow Johnson to get by nice and easy. As for a smaller field goes, these guys really aren't giving each other much room or a break. They're charging very, very hard here. As up front, it's still Loving, Smith, Dobbs running 1, 2, 3, very, very close. Dobbs looks to the inside line of Smith's number 87 Chevrolet. Not quite able to make it stick. Now, every time these guys push out of line and try and make something happen, as you watch Peyton Johnson, number 15, make a shot at the number 38 of Stringfellow, it's going to slow down the pace just ever so slightly and allow the field to stack up as everybody scatters up front as lap traffic comes into play. I believe that's going to be Grunwald, the number 5 machine, missing the front end, just trying to find a way to avoid the race leaders, but not a lot of real estate when everybody's trying to go 2, 3 wide. And the caution will come out once more as it shows Isaac Wilson involved in the incident. We'll take a quick look at the replay on that one. Looks like Wilson tagged the outside wall. What a terrible camera angle. Let's grab that one once more to see what happened to the number 93 machine. Looks like he tagged the wall. Not sure if he got any sort of help or not. Watch that Hall sheet metal drone camera. Let's see what happens to number 93. Yeah, just tags the wall all by himself. Then he gets a little bit of help from Jeff Paisley. Paisley was trying to do his best to avoid it, but yeah, that is all on the number 93, a single car incident. Thankfully, the rest of the field able to get through nice and easy and not collecting the number 93 further. So let's see. If I was a betting man, everybody's going to take 4 tires once more, and that is the correct bet. I don't believe anybody's going to stay out, possibly Brett Grunwald, who's going to stay out and get that lap back in the number 5 machine. But, man, look how much damage Brett has on the front of that Arcadia Motorsports back Chevrolet Camaro, completely missing the front end. But the good news is less overheating problems tonight for the number 5, as we are officially past the halfway mark. And that will be our 4th caution of the night. Now it is going to be Eddie Smith on the front row with Steve Loving for this next restart. As we're going to get ready to re-rack him here in Michigan, get him pointed back in the right direction. I believe it's still going to be about 15 drivers on the lead lap. Let's see what Smith and Loving can do out front. Both competitors are, again, on a fresh set of tires. Looks like pretty much everybody came in on lap 37 or 38 here. But every time we stack this field back up, things can get a little bit exciting for everybody out on track. Here we go. Smith gets a great launch. Loving looks to the inside line, not able to get the momentum, as well as Stringfellow, who's going to charge hard early. It's Smith, Loving, Stringfellow, Camper, Johnson, your top 5, running nose to tail, very close here. Who's going to be the first one that steps out of line? It's going to be Steve Loving looking to the inside. Johnson thinks about the number 15, decides against it, holds the middle line. And now Stringfellow is going to challenge for the lead. Getting around Loving's number 27 and Stringfellow on the inside line, as well as Dakota Camper. Steve Loving and Eddie Smith running the high line together. Dakota Camper also goes the inside line. Peyton Johnson tries to follow. They're going to go 2 wide, about 3 rows deep here. Oh, not a lot of real estate. Everyone able to hold on to it as Johnson and Loving go side by side. That's the battle for third where they're 2 wide. We talked about it time and again, though. Every time these guys are going side by side like that, it's allowing the guys behind them to punch through that wide air pocket, and there they go. As I believe that was Kyle Roberts. And I'm not quite sure who else. We'll take a quick look at that one. Kyle Roberts gets into it with the number 91, I believe, of Jamie Dobbs. Just taps that back left quarter panel in the perfect spot. As Roberts is going to go careening across the racetrack hard in the inside wall. It looked like Dobbs was able to get through it relatively unscathed, but a huge hit for the number 35 machine. As you're on board with Kyle Roberts. Just drifts up the racetrack, and unfortunately a car was still owning that piece of asphalt, and it's going to be a hard hit for Roberts' number 35 machine. And that will bring out the caution flag once more for the 5th time here at Michigan. So it's going to be Stringfellow in the top spot, Camper second. Then on the second row, it's going to be Loving, Smith, and then Johnson and Paisley. Our third row. Now both Stringfellow and Camper are up 14 spots each. Your current first and second place driver. Only about 30 laps left to go in tonight's main event. Now, oddly enough, seems like everybody opted to stay out this time. Dobbs and Grunewald both came into pit lane that last caution. Stringfellow gets a great launch. Camper does as well, staying glued to number 38 machine. Steve Levin's going to look to the inside line of the 27 machine early off, going into turn one as he's side by side with Smith and the number 87. Keep an eye on Smith, who's run that high line, has a little bit more momentum. Johnson in the number 15 also moves up to the high side to try and get around Loving. Seems to make it stick. Stringfellow holds on to the race lead, but look at this. Johnson charging hard down the inside apron. He's going to get around Smith, but still hasn't quite caught up to Camper. Yes, Johnson's actually going to take over the race lead, but can he keep that momentum, run the inside line? Stringfellow gets momentum once more. Camper on the high side, as well as Paisley, the number 7, has worked his way back up to the front. Now it's going to be Stringfellow and Johnson side by side. Johnson's going to slide up in front of the number 38 as Stringfellow makes it stick. Now it's going to be Dakota Camper and Eddie Smith side by side, and here comes Steve Loving as well. A lot of great racing, more side by side action as your race leaders. Johnson, oh, there we go. That was Jeff Paisley with a hard hit in the number 7. Paisley just gets absolutely quarter paneled by the number 62, Chris Reese. Just both drivers, not enough room to get through. Paisley goes spinning like a top down the backstretch, but keeps it off the wall and pointing in the right direction. A pretty good save by the number 7. And that'll bring out our 6th caution of the night at lap 49. Now let's see who comes in again. These guys had 5 sets of tires here tonight. So they don't want to use them all up too early. Now they should all be able to make it till fuel on the end here. Oh, Johnson with a bit of a fake out. Stringfellow Camper go in. Smith stays out. So Stringfellow Camper, Redder, Lottridge, Morrison, Paisley. A large portion of the field decides to come in. Now let's see, as pretty much your top 7 have stayed out here. with alternative strategies. Most of the field in the top 7 came in on lap 37, except for Jamie Dobbs, who came in on lap 43. How important are tires going to be here in the closing 25 laps at Michigan? Now again, today we're at Michigan. Next week we're on a break. And then October 10th we return for Auto Club, which I believe is a non-standings point race, an all-star race. That'll be fun to watch. Pace car will be making its way in this time by. A lot of different lead changes here tonight. It'll be 24 laps to go as they cross the line. But how important are those 12-lap newer tires? The guy with the freshest tires up front, Dakota Camper, number 3, is 7th on track. Johnson gets a great launch. Smith immediately drops in line. Dobbs also looking for a move here early on. And the number 91 machine currently 3rd on track. As it looks like our top 4 drivers have a bit of a breakaway. Then you have to go back to Josh Oswald, the number 17 machine, who is currently 5th on track with a whole lot of company. As he's got Camper, he's got Stringfellow, he's got Wilson, a bunch of guys with fresh tires. But you're on board Oswald in the number 17, 5th on track, watching the battle unfold ahead. And it looks like our top 4 drivers are going to be running single file for just a little while here. Again, maybe trying to avoid any possible carnage behind them. Camper slings it around the outside, getting around Oswald and dropping into the toe of Lovin's number 27 machine. And just like that, the pack is accordioned back together. Camper side by side with Loving. He's got Bill Stringfellow right behind him, trying to push his way up towards the front. Now it's the top 3 drivers of Johnson, Smith, and Dobbs with a bit of a breakaway. Mostly Johnson and Smith. Dobbs is quickly finding himself involved with a battle for 3rd as here comes Camper pushing hard at the number 3 machine. Giving a hearty shove to the number 91. No problems though. Everybody keeps it pointed forward. And now Camper's going to look to the inside line alongside Dobbs. Looks like he's going to make it stick, and he's going to try and pick up a couple more positions. Camper with a 12-lap newer tire seems to be working well for number 3, as now he is just alongside Eddie Smith's number 87. Unable to make a shot for that 2nd place spot, but no, here he's going to try once more. Able to use those fresher Goodyears to his advantage. But even with those fresh tires, it's tough carrying that inside line momentum when you can't slide out to the outside line like the car naturally wants. And that's going to allow Dobbs to contest once more to try and get his way back into third using that side draft. As they are side by side, the battle for third, Dobbs and Camper. Oh, here we go. Things are shaking up as they're 3 wide. Hold on to it, guys. Johnson and Smith still running 1 and 2. Camper trying to hold on to third as Loving and Dobbs have been battling very, very hard. Camper, again, he's got the freshest tires in the top 5 right now. You've also got Redder, the number 97 machine. He also came in a lap 49, so keep an eye on him as he's going to try and catch up to Steve Loving. Camper still trying with all of his might to make that inside line work. He is going to be able to slide up the racetrack in front of Johnson to take over the race lead. Not quite able to get clear, as he will still be side by side with Eddie Smith down the backstretch here at Michigan. Here comes Loving, though, wanting to be back up there in the mix. Briefly puts his car into second place before he has to check up on that inside line. So just because Johnson, Smith, and Loving are on older tires doesn't mean they can't get in the mix. Here comes Redder as well, number 97 machine with his newer tires. Look at the speed that Redder is able to carry along that middle groove here in Michigan. He may be able to get his way around Eddie Smith. He looks like he's going to make it happen as he gets right on the rear bumper of Johnson, your race leader. Out of your top 5, it's Redder and Camper with those new tires, but Johnson still holding on to it out front. But right as we say that, Redder makes a gutsy move for the outside to take over the race lead. Camper's going to follow. Smith and Loving did a great job holding on for as long as they could, as well as Johnson with those slightly older tires. But now it's going to be Redder and Camper battling for the race lead on the same tire strategy. Both drivers coming in last time on lap 49, 17 laps left to go. Still plenty of time for a whole lot of carnage left on tonight's circuit. As now Redder and Camper are going to have a little bit of room to breathe, as now, again, Johnson and Smith still battling hard for that final podium spot. Both Smith and Johnson have not come in since lap 37, so they may be feeling the effects of tire wear just ever so slightly more. Laps left to go. You're on board with Camper, who's chasing down Redder late in the race. Which of these two competitors is going to have a little bit of tires left in reserve, as they've both been pushing very hard in this stint since they came in on lap 49. Camper's going to look to the inside line. Can he make it stick going into turns 3? He has it going into 3, but will Redder be able to carry just a little bit more speed on that high line to try and prevent Camper from slotting in the groove? But they do a little bit of high-low crossover. Now Redder looks to the inside line. Back and forth they go for the race lead. Redder and Camper putting on a show here at Michigan. Eddie Smith doing a great job hanging on to third place on those older sets of tires. But he will quickly have company as Stringfellow also came in a lap 49. As you are on board with Stringfellow watching the battle in front, that's 3 drivers pushing hard. Redder, Camper, Smith, our top 3. Stringfellow and Johnson, your top 5. Camper will once again challenge for the lead as he's going to be side by side with Redditor. He will have the inside line going down the backstretch, but Redditor has the support of Smith, the number 87 machine, giving him that draft, helping him punch some clean air through. Now, clean air is going to be very important at this point in the tire run. Once you have that dirty air in front of you, it's going to make the car just a little bit tighter and a little bit tougher to push through as aggressively. Well, look at this Stringfellow. He drops to the inside line as well to give his support to Camper. Redditor's going to have the last lap led. 12 laps left to go. Redditor goes way, way high here. And we're going to go 3 wide once more with Camper, Smith, Redditor putting on a show. Ooh, not a lot of real estate left to go. Now Redditor's out there by his lonesome on the high line with no draft support. As Camper, Smith, Stringfellow. Oh, Stringfellow gets into Redditor. Redditor's going to take some front right damage there, and that may take him out of the contention. He has already used his fast repair, and he's going to drop down the standings all the way back into 10th, coming into pit lane. Gotta hand it to Smith, the number 87 machine. 12 lap older tires than both Camper and Stringfellow, and charging hard. Somebody takes a wild ride down the backstretch, able to hold on to it, keep it green, and point in the right direction. Now Camper is in a good spot to win this, but you got to keep an eye on Smith, who's been hanging with him throughout the duration of this event, as well as Stringfellow, another driver who's on that lap 49 tire set. Smith looks to be falling off just a little bit as Stringfellow is going to look up the inside line in his black and blue number 38 machine, as well as Jamie Dobbs going to try and put his number 91 in podium contention. It is 3 Chevrolets running 1, 2, 3 with Camper, Stringfellow, Smith. 9 laps left to go here in Michigan. You're on board with Smith, number 87 machine, who's following Camper, Stringfellow with 12-lap newer tires, doing everything in his power to hold on to a possible podium finish here today. But are we going to see Stringfellow battle for that top spot? All these guys are out here for a win, as the top 4 drivers have separated themselves by about 2 seconds over 5th place Steve Loving. Who's it going to be? Very impressed that Smith's been able to hold on to these top 2 drivers, Camper and Stringfellow, so well as Dobbs, who again, Dobbs came in a lap 43, while Camper and Stringfellow came in a lap 49, and then Smith, again, he came in a lap 37 his last time by. But we got a battle for the lead as Stringfellow looks to the inside line, crossing the checkers, the start-finish line, and they make contact. The race leader's Bennett. Stringfellow gets absolutely hit, as well as I believe that was Camper with a hard hit. Let's see what happens here. Camper gets a hearty shove for the number 87, Eddie Smith. Bounces Stringfellow off the inside line. Smith does not come of that uncollected as well, but Camper takes the most amount of damage. That's going to allow Jamie Dobbs to take over the race lead as the caution comes out. We're going to watch that one once more. Dobbs able to cut through and get through without any sort of damage. A very fine display of driving there. So now it's going to have Dobbs as your race leader, Stringfellow second, Smith third, Lottridge fourth, Loving fifth. Who's going to come down pit lane for a final set of tires in a mad dash to the end? And there's going to be heartbreak in the hollers for several of the drivers. Race Control will have their hands full here today. As the field will once again come down pit road, as this is our 7th caution of the night. Looks like everybody's going to come in. Still 14 drivers on the lead lap. What are we going to see if I was a betting man? And I am. I'm expecting at least one more caution to put us into green-white checker conditions. Camper in and out very quickly. No, Camper didn't pit. Camper stays out. I'm very confused. So Camper is going to stay out in the number 3 machine. So it's going to be Camper and Dobbs your front row, but no, Camper will come in. So it's going to be Dobbs and Loving on your front row. Lottridge and Oswald your second row. Johnson and Reese your third row for what could be the final restart of the night. So let's see what happens here. A final shootout. Everybody's on a fresh set of tires. They are charging hard. Excuse me, I hack it up a lung here in the broadcast booth. It's Dobbs, Loving, Oswald, Reese, Stringfellow, your top 5. Three laps left to go. Dobbs can do everything he can to hold on to it from Loving, who's charging up through the field. Oh, Stringfellow takes a hit in the inside wall. I think that was Stringfellow. And the caution will fly once more. Let's take a quick look at that one, see what just transpired. Stringfellow might have come up into Johnson. It's hard to tell, but he's going to hit the wall hard, as well as Paisley, who absolutely drills him. All right, we're going to try and bring it home to the end. My apologies. I'm having to mute the mic pretty frequently here. I'm not recovering to the ability that I thought I was going to be able to. So for the Mad Dash, it's going to be Dobbs and Levin, your front row. Oswald and Reese, second row. Johnson and Lottridge, your third row. So again, this will put us into green-white checker conditions here tonight at Michigan for the Motor City 150. 2 green-white checker attempts tonight. So I believe this is going to put us into 1 of 2 overtime conditions. Excuse me. Let's see what happens for possibly the final time here tonight at Michigan. Again, if they can make it to the white flag condition before another wreck happens, that will be the race no matter what happens. But if we get a caution on the opening lap, that'll put us into, once again, overtime conditions for the final time. Let's see what Dobbs, number 91 Ford Mustang, can do. He is up 12 spots from where he started tonight. But you also cannot count out Lovin, number 27 Coca-Cola back Chevrolet. He started up front, and he wants to end the night up front. Pace car will be making its way in this time by. Dobbs stacking the field up. Gets a great launch. Let's see what Loving in number 27 can do, or if there's going to be more heartbreak behind your race leaders. As it is Dobbs, Loving, Reese, Oswald, Johnson, your top 5 here today. Loving looks at the inside line going through turns 1 and 2. Who's going to give him the draft support, or is everybody going to try and follow Dobbs on the outside line? It looks like it's going to be Loving by a hair down the backstretch going into turn 3. You're on board with Chris Reese, number 62 machine, also trying to pick up another spot here. And a white flag will fly here in Michigan. Dobbs trying to make something happen. Number 91 machine running the high line, carrying as much speed as he possibly can. Will he have enough momentum to catch up to Loving out front? Because behind them, an absolute hornet's nest. Johnson, Reese, Lottridge all looking for another spot. Dobbs tries to hit him with a switchback, goes to the inside line, going into turn 3. Here comes Johnson as well, trying to slingshot his way around. Loving looks back to the inside of Dobbs. Who's going to get it at the line? It looks like it's going to be Dobbs. It's going to be close. And it is. It's going to be Jamie Dobbs, number 91 machine, bringing home the win. Steve Loving second, Jason Lottridge third. A great race from all those competitors. Great racing. Well done to Dobbs and Loving for putting on a ridiculously close finish. I believe it was going to be about 100th of a second separating our two drivers there. As we're going to try and get our drivers in the waiting room, as Jamie Dobbs in the Ford Mustang is going to burn it down in style here today. A well-deserved win. As Lottridge, number 48 machine, is also going to celebrate that podium finish here today. Up first, we've got Jason Lottridge join us in the number 48 machine. Great run out there, Jason. I mean, it was all the way down to the wire. How did it go from your point of view?
It was just one of those end of the races where you tucked up behind the fastest guy, and you try to not get wrecked, and it was excellent. Steve and Jamie, they ran a great race, and I just tried to hold on for dear life, and it was a great ending to that race.
Now, Jason, you started off about 11th tonight, and I think everybody was involved in some sort of carnage at one point or the other. Were you surprised to be able to crawl your way up to a podium spot after a bit of a rough start for everybody, or what was your expectations after that qualifying?
I mean, I kept my nose real clean all night long. I got clipped a little tiny bit in the front of my bumper and had a couple seconds of optionals. And, I'm not a big fan of Michigan. I just have never ran good here, especially in the Cup car. But, I just kept it clean. I pitted when I needed to. There really wasn't much pit strategy involved in regards to gas. And, I just kept the foot in it the last for the green white checker.
Well, it seems like it worked out very well for you, putting the number 48 machine up there on the box. A great run out there tonight. Jason, before I let you sign off and celebrate, who would you like to give thanks to that's supporting that number 48 Ford Mustang behind the scenes?
Well, not behind the scenes, but I'd like to thank the sponsors of the league, Whole Sheet Metal, Magic Mike Motorsports, Arcadian Motorsports, Smeal Race Designs, Buck Kicker, and then, of course, you guys for doing the broadcasting, the Team Goon Squad broadcasting. Thank you guys for all you guys do.
Well, Jason, always a pleasure, man. Great job. And then we hope to see you up here more often as the season draws out to a close.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You as well, sir. Up next, we've got Steve Loving and the number 27 machine. He's going to put it in the second place spot. Steve, great race. It looked like less than 100th of a second separating you and Dobbs there at the finish line.
Yeah, it was a great race. Very close. We had a blast. Whole pack of us really running up tight. Several good laps of racing. But yeah, we had a great time. Car was good. Weather was great. Track was great. It's actually really hoping for a win. Michigan's one of my top tracks, but taking second, I'll take it.
Now, Steve, did you expect it to be that close at the end after a race that was marred with cautions, or were you just kind of happy to bring home a relatively clean car after all that?
Oh, I was debating. I was actually going to just stay behind Jamie until we took the white flag so we could pull away from third and wait till the last lap to pass him. But as soon as we took the green, I had so much speed on the entrance to one, I decided to go for it, even though it would basically deploy a parachute. But yeah, once we got the parachute deployed and I got around him, I was watching my mirror. I had a feeling he would eventually get up under me. On the final lap, when he came in 3 and 4, I decided my only shot was to lift a little bit and do a crossover and just go for it. And that's what I did. And I hoped to nose him out by the start finish, but 0.005, it's close. But I mean, he ran a hell of a race. It was awesome time. I'll take second. Great run.
Yeah, great race, great showing all the way around. Now, you said Michigan's not a favorite track of yours. Why is that compared to some of the other circuits?
No, it is one of my favorites.
Oh, my apologies.
Michigan? No, it's okay. Michigan's one of the best, and Vegas is another favorite.
Well, it showed well for you. Congratulations again, Steve. It's always a great time having you up here in the booth with me. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give thanks to that's helping you and the number 27 machine stay fast all season long?
Well, my team, JC Motorsports, fantastic to work with. Series sponsors, Hall Sheet Metal, Magic Mike, Arcadian, Smeal Racing, Buck Kicker. You, James, obviously, you guys with Goon Squad, you do fantastic. Brett for doing a great job administering this session and holding everything together.
Well, always a great time, Steve. Hope to see you up here the rest of the season, and always a great time talking to you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You as well. And then up next, we've got a stand-in for Jamie Dobbs. Dobbs, the race winner, the number 91 Ford Mustang, has a 2-year-old sleeping next to him, so he's got to be nice and quiet as he fist pumps the air and celebrates a win. But in the meantime, we've got Brett Redder, the number 97 machine, standing in for Dobbs. Brett, how's it going, sir?
Hey, it's going good, James. Yeah, like you said, Jamie's got a 2-year-old sleeping, so he did want to thank his sponsors, Martin Sports, Sim Racer Coin, and his guys with Indy Auto Sport, and everyone that puts us on, admins. So he just wants to say a big thanks. Again, he apologized he can't be in here, but family first, right?
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, on his behalf, that guy started at the back of the pack and came to the front and won the race. So that's a hell of a drive for him. So congratulations on the win for him.
Well spoken, my friend. Well spoken on Dobbs' behalf, and thank you for joining me up here in the booth, Brett. Always a pleasure.
10-4, man. Looking forward to a week off and then the playoffs, so should be fun 4 races.
It's going to be exciting. Always a pleasure, sir.
Awesome, James. Glad you're feeling better and glad you're back with us, man.
Good to be back, man. Thank you. That was Brett Redder taking the reins for Jamie Dobbs. Again, Dobbs winning tonight, but having to celebrate ever so quietly as he has that 2-year-old sleeping next to him. But well done to Dobbs for one of the closest finishes we've seen all season long, and pretty much in most of my broadcasts, that might be one of the closest we've seen. On behalf of the Original Rebel Racing League, as well as Hall Sheet Metal tonight's sponsors, I'm James East, thanking you guys so much on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Always a great time being back in the booth, surrounded by my friends on and off the virtual racetrack. We will be off next week for the Original Rebel Racing League Late Night Series, but then we get ready for 4 exciting rounds of playoffs. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We truly couldn't do it without you guys, And as always, have a great, safe, and happy evening, and we'll see you when we return from our break. Have a great night, everyone.